after 3 weeks in India, it's rather nice to be home, and I was really quite surprised to read in the newspaper on the weekend about the Auckland City Council concerned at the rate of return that they were achieving from the ports and or their investment in the ports, and that was around about 6%. And of course the cost of debt for the ports is somewhat higher than 6%, so it doesn't take a lot of effort or a lot of finance knowledge to know that's not a sustainable position. And I guess as we celebrate the 200-year anniversary of Charles Dickens, it sort of brings to mind a few key lines about neither a lender nor a borrower be. And I'm sure there's another one about a penny borrowed can be a disaster as well. So for the literary people watching this, you'll be able to sort that out. But the key thing I wanted to raise was that my last couple of days in India, I gave a seminar to Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, which is a large state-owned enterprise, about 42,000 employees in India. And in that, we had a look at the rate of return on a whole lot of PSUs, public sector units, or state-owned enterprises in India. And what we found from our survey of 180 of them was that the rate of return on assets on average was 5.8, and the cost of funds, government borrowing rate, or risk-free rate we might want to call it, was 6.8, a 1% deficit. And it doesn't come as a surprise that you need to be a charitable organisation to keep losing money at that rate. And the Indian government wants to sell down its owning and state-owned enterprises in this budgetary year, in their speak, 40 lakh crore of rupees. A lakh is 100,000, a crore is 10 million, so you've got around about 1 trillion New Zealand dollars in that sell down. A great investment unless they do something about the return on assets in such businesses. So, where's the problem? Is it with management or is it at the governance level? It strikes me that with all the reforms we had in New Zealand in the public sector in the 1980s and then again in the 1990s, are we at a 10-year cycle where we have to go through it again? That our health boards seem to be unable to control expenditure, and the return on assets in local government and public sector units is disastrous. Do we really need to address the issue of governance and management in the public sector? Let me think about that. Oh yes, unless we want to enslave our children and mortgage them forever, we probably ought to.